Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Castello Show. It is match week 6. We are excited to be here. Had to think about it for a second, actually. We are still not in the studio. We apologize. It is taking longer than we thought. We are currently working on evicting an older woman from the studio, and that's what the holdup is. But we are excited to be here. Lot to talk about coming off the first international break. And we don't usually talk about the U.S. team, mostly because we don't like them.
We don't like them at all.
And here's the thing. You want to root for your national team because it's your national team. When the U.S. won the curling gold medal,
I was so into it.
There were no bigger fans than us.
All those dudes from Minnesota.
We love the U.S. I will root for the U.S. in anything. But this team is not likable. And we've been standing on our own island on this for a while. You longer than me, honestly.
Yes, not just the team itself, but U.S. soccer as well.
Right. And there's a lot of things we don't like, but the team really personifies it, which is rich kids who have a lot of talent and no effort. It is a thing that we have seen at every level of youth soccer, and now we're seeing that precipitate to the national team scale. 1-0 loss to Panama, which actually, I wanted to get this pulled up, but let me just this will be an interesting stat for everyone. There are 515,000 people in Panama. There are more players playing soccer in the United States than there are people in Panama.
There might be more people playing soccer in Texas.
Literally. No, we have no business losing to Panama, okay? I know they have a canal, and that's pretty cool, but it doesn't help them in soccer.
No.
Terrible loss. Then, followed up with a 2-1 loss to Canada, who we have been openly shitting on as a nation for, years. It was a team that we absolutely should beat. For so long, it was the U.S. and Mexico. Who's going to win? Occasionally, Jamaica pops up. But Canada is a real team now. When you look at that roster, it's serious MLS players.
I like the Canadian team. I think there's a lot of great players.
Oluwaseyi, and then the other one, David. Him I didn't know, actually.
What about Davies from
Yeah, no, it's a very good team. But Landon Donovan tweeted. This is after the Canada loss. Yesterday, this tweet went out. I'm so sick of hearing how talented this group of players is and all the amazing clubs they play for. If you aren't going to show up and actually give a shit about playing for your national team, decline the invite. Talent is great. Pride is better. I've never heard a former player go off on their own national team like that.
Actually, recently I feel like that has been starting to happen. I mean, I gotta think Alexi Lawless has talked shit about it.
Well, Alexi Lawless will talk shit on anybody, and I don't even consider Alexi Lawless in this.
Who's the girl who scored for midfield? She was a captain from Jersey. Carly Lloyd. Didn't she say some stuff about them in the last World Cup?
She did talk about the U.S. men's team. Carly Lloyd and the entire U.S. women's team talked a lot of shit about the men's team with the whole, we want more money.
Yeah.
So there was already the U.S. men suck.
I don't know, because I don't think Dempsey was saying good things either through some of that.
No, but
I don't think it wasn't like it was just her.
I never felt like Dempsey disliked them, though.
I don't think it's a dislike.
The vibe I get from Landon Donovan is he's pissed. I never got that from Dempsey. Dempsey was disappointed.
Yeah.
Landon's angry. It's the difference between, I come home with my homework's not done, and you're like, come on, guy. And that's about it. Right. And Mom is like, you gotta do your fucking homework. Mom is Landon Donovan. Why are you not doing it? But, I mean, truly, I can't think of a time that someone really laid into this team like this. And I'm curious what is going to happen. Because there's two ways this can go. Either Pulisic and Tim Way and all these guys go, actually, you know what? He's right. We're not accepting this invite. We don't fucking care. We don't need to take all this shit. Or,
I don't think that'll happen.
I don't think so either. What I also think could happen is this lights a fire under them. The World Cup's in LA in the US and Canada and Mexico.
I don't think that's going to happen either.
I think it will for some of them. I don't think it will for all of them.
No, definitely not. No, I think for some, just literally, I guarantee you, there is more than one player on that team that if someone came to them with that quote, their response would be, "Who?"
You think?
Absolutely. There is no way that every player on that team knows who Landon Donovan is. And it's not like he's Mickey Mantle that played in the 60s.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't that long ago, but it was long enough ago that they were little kids.
Yeah, how do you not know, like, Dos Aceto and all that? There's a lot of history to U.S.
I
soccer.
bet half that team doesn't know that.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know.
You would be surprised how many professional athletes in all sports are not historians of their sport.
Yeah, well,
even
I can
a
see
little.
that because I will say we very much are students of the game. We want to know the history and stuff. But in that time that we are spending in front of a computer learning all this shit, we could be actually playing soccer and just getting better too.
No, it's not. You watch games. I mean, it's from growing up watching it, and then you learn about stuff that's a little bit older, and then I don't know.
Right. Well,
I didn't sit in front of a computer as a kid.
Yeah.
And yet I knew a lot of that stuff.
I would find
not about soccer.
Hard to believe that you could be.
But baseball, football, hockey.
Yeah, if you grew up in the U.S., because the U.S. men's team is a disaster. Like, even when they did suck back in 2008 and 2012, and those are the wrong years. 2006 and 2010 and 2014. 2014 was actually a good run. But that kind of era, they weren't good, but people still liked them. You liked Clint Dempsey. You liked Josie Altidore. Like,
love them.
They went out there and played hard.
They're gamers.
That is no longer the ethos of the U.S. team.
No, not at all.
But we will see what happens. As they get worse, we will definitely be talking about it. To be honest, when they do well, we're not really going to talk about it. But
yeah, I don't think they have a very motivational coach either.
No.
I think it's there's no one here along this. I mean, maybe they need like a Bobby Knight, but I think they would just quit. I mean, if you look at who's little baby, whose mommy went and complained about the coach.
I know who you're talking about.
His daddy played.
Yeah, everything with Berhalter.
Yeah, little baby boy.
Whoever the player was.
Gio.
Thank you.
Gio Reyna. Yeah, that's what you have on this team. Not all of them. I love Pulisic, actually. I think he is a gamer, actually.
Well, I do until I watch him with this team, and I'm just not seeing it. Like, they walk out, and there's no attendance, and they look all mad, and it's like, well, then fucking give a shit.
Yeah, be better.
No one wants to come watch you because they don't believe in you.
Yeah.
That's why. That's why we don't sell any. That's why when you play in the U.S. against Mexico, it feels like you're on the road.
Yeah, didn't the U.S. women fill the Rose Bowl in '99?
Yep.
So, it can be done.
Yeah, well, and another thing, and we'll move on after this, because I don't want to do all international shit, but Mauricio Pochettino, I want to say, so I think they played against Panama on the 19th. I could be wrong, it might have been the 20th, but the day before, in an interview, Pochettino was asked, do you think the U.S. could win the World Cup? And he was like, yes, absolutely, if the fans get behind us, for sure we can make that happen.
If the fans get behind us.
Right, I don't know why that would even make an opinion, but to say that and then follow it with a loss to Panama and a loss to Canada, he has to be sweating. And Pochettino is, I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to find a man more familiar with being fired for his performance. I am really curious how he handles this. There's a year before this World Cup. It is crunch time now. This is an embarrassing situation. Like, things need to change today. Or it is going to be goodbye Pochettino after... I think they let him stay till 2026, and it's goodbye the day after they're eliminated. Well, unless things start changing now.
And we talked a little bit about this. I was surprised that he had such an unprepared, terrible answer for that.
Right.
He coached in England for years. That's not like the nicest media.
You never say you're going to win.
It's not like the Green Bay Packers media.
Right.
Who are like, we still love you, Aaron
No,
Rodgers.
yeah, you're dealing with New York media.
That's what England is.
Yeah.
I mean...
no, but whoever said, are you going to win the World Cup? That, I mean, if I was Pochettino, I would give some really evasive answer, and then after I got off camera, I'd go, who asked that question? Have them killed. Like, that person's never allowed back.
That's their job.
Yeah,
and you, as a professional, whether you're a player or a coach.
Yeah, you got to be able to handle it.
You have to know how to skirt those questions. I mean, they teach
sure.
guys coming up in the NFL.
Yeah, no, and honestly, the best
part of their rookie symposium is learning how to talk to the media.
Best thing he could have said is, right now we're worried about Panama. And
we're on to Buffalo.
To be honest, they should have been worried about Panama, it seems.
No, I think they weren't worried about Panama at all.
No, and I also think, and here's another, this is the last thing, I know I keep saying that, but I do think, in a way, if someone in that locker room is leading properly, these two games can be a turning point for them. Because they walked into that Panama game thinking this is going to be 5-0. We are way better than them on paper. We have no business even really playing today. This could be the point where whoever in the locker room, I don't know if it's Tim Ream, I don't think it is, I don't know who it would be. No. But one of them needs to go, hey, motherfuckers, listen up. Every game is a game. Like, you have to play. You guys go to the Champions League, you're all scoring goals for Juventus. Weston McKennie is, like, breaking records. I mean, they're all scoring constantly. And they can't do it against Panama? That's effort. That's not skill. They are good enough. Like, there is a disconnect somewhere. And hopefully this is an opportunity for them to look into that. I don't think
we'll see.
Yeah. Probably what's going to happen is an early exit in 2026, and there will be...
the good thing they have going for them is they're automatically in because it's on their home soil.
Right, they don't have to qualify. Which I also think...
I kind of wish the home teams did have to qualify.
Yeah.
And just imagine how embarrassing it is if you don't qualify for your own World Cup.
Well, and here's another thing about that. Now that they're doing, like... Because this World Cup, you have 3 host nations. Next World Cup, you have 6 host nations.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous.
Well,
it's in like 3 different continents.
The whole world is going to be auto-qualified at some point. Like, it's just make a 192 country bracket and start from the beginning every year.
At some point, that's what it'll be. Think of think of how small it used to be and what it is now, because it means more games, more money, more TV time.
By the way, if they change...
More countries engaged. Look at March Madness. Look at college football playoffs. Everything gets bigger. The NBA, teams with losing records make the playoffs.
Yeah.
More than half the teams make the playoffs. I mean,
that's true.
Yes, because it means more money. And
the
that's
MLS,
what every
more than half
one
the
of these
make the playoffs.
Yep. And that's what every one of these
Well, and I will say this.
Leagues are about.
If we're going to get to a point
leagues.
where just every country's in the World Cup, I'm moving to the middle of fuck nowhere, and I'm getting citizenship for some African country no one's ever heard of, and I'm joining the national team.
Gibraltar.
I imagine Gibraltar actually has a team, and they're probably...
Oh, they definitely have a team. I've seen them in the Nations League. And
it's got to be a team I can make, though. And I don't want... By the way, I'm not going to, get in shape.
Doesn't Luxembourg have, 5,000 people?
Oh, the Luxembourg national team would be a good one. But here's the thing, because I want to be like the Babe Ruth of this nation, where I'm smoking cigars on
Luxembourg, 666,000 people.
Oh my God, that's smaller than Charlotte. That's perfect.
Malta.
Oh, Malta's
552,000.
Ladies and gentlemen, 20. What do you think? 2030. What would it be? 2034. 2034. I will be the captain of the Malta national team in the World Cup. We will lose first round, but I will be there, drinking beers during pregame.
Well, some of these national teams do have their starting keeper is a carpenter.
Right.
Yeah. And sometimes they're awesome. I forgot what country it was.
Austria.
But there was a dude that was 43 years old. Maybe 42.
I'm almost positive it was Austria.
No.
Was it Hungary?
Maybe Hungary. Austria's a real soccer nation.
Well, but they're not Germany or Belgium, so I don't give a shit.
No. But they're a real soccer nation.
Okay.
Guy.
How many Austrian players can you name right now? Well, you're about to Google it.
I am, and you're going to know these players. Austria.
Yeah, I mean, when Austria-Hungary was a team, they really took a drop when Austria left. Well, they tied Slovenia.
Slovenia, they're a real team.
They lost to...
Here we go.
Who? All right.
2024 squad from ESPN.
This episode is so off the rails now. David Alaba.
Okay, that's a real player.
Great player. That guy's name is Queerfield. Dude, I don't know a single fucking player on this team other than David Alaba.
Well, you're going to have to room with Queerfield if you make the team.
Maybe it wasn't Austria. Maybe it was Hungary. The point is, the man was 43 and he was wearing sweatpants.
He was wearing sweatpants. Yes, you know the guy I'm talking about.
He was wearing sweatpants.
That was so good.
In an international
and he was
match.
awesome.
He was so good.
Well, you can be older and still be a good keeper.
Yes.
Because you don't have to run 1,000 miles.
Right. Well, and honestly, I almost think it's better to be older as a goalie because you're a little more mature. You're a little more attentive to, like, where I am on the field.
And where your other players are, too.
Right.
You truly are coached
leading the back line to a degree. All right, we really do have to move on. Guys.
To the MLS.
Last week was wild. There were a lot of score lines I was not expecting. We're not going to cover every game, but we'll just kind of go through some big ones. I did want to start with Charlotte. 4-1 win over San Jose at home. By the way, missing Ajamong, who did score while he was on international break. So he's coming back in a good mood. Charlotte's obviously in a good mood coming off a 4-1 win. Goal from Pepeil.
Yes. Brett Bronico. He took off the shirt, got the yellow.
Worth it. Westwood with a great goal.
Always got to love Westwood score.
Who was the other one? Westwood, Bronico. Vargas.
And he did his little flip and everything after.
Yeah, really good showing. Toklamati with an assist. Love seeing him get involved. Young player.
Yeah.
The Israeli connection with Abada is nice.
By the way, watch his movement and then watch Ajamong.
Yeah.
And you're going to get mad at how much Ajamong doesn't move. He just stays up top and waits for the ball.
Yeah, and I think, here's the thing, if Toklamati was Ajamong's size, he would be unstoppable. I think Ajamong gets to not move because he's just going to bully you off the ball.
Yeah, well,
even if you're standing right next to him, he's still going to win the 50-50.
He's a big, strong, athletic guy.
Yeah, well, and he's really stepping into this target man role. They did give up one goal, Christian Arango, on a penalty. To be honest, didn't really think it was that much of a penalty.
So, I did.
It felt light.
It was light, but it was definitely a foul.
He did pull him.
Don't put your hand on his shoulder when you're behind him.
Yeah, well, and
you're asking for him to just go down.
He pulled him back. No matter how light you touch him, this motion is a dead giveaway you did something.
Right, so it's clearly a foul and a PK. And the whole stadium booed.
Yeah.
And that was my first game this season because I went with my buddy Mike.
Yep.
He still has his season tickets. And I really hate listening to the crowd at those games. They truly are only reacting to what they want, not what is actually happening.
Yes. No, well, and it's not, I like a fan base that argues. I'm even more like a fan base that knows what they're...
That argues and are right.
Yeah, here's the thing. If every 5 seconds we start the ref you suck chant, we're never going to get anything called in our favor again.
Right.
Like, you're actually hurting the situation. Regardless, 4-1 win. We'll take it. Charlotte looks good right now.
Yeah, don't know why Rodriguez didn't start for...
Curious about that as well.
San Jose.
We'll see. And honestly, if you're Bruce Arena, it's a bad game. You're not happy. It's an international break. Everything's weird this week. I think this is okay for San Jose as long as they come back, and we'll talk about them this week because they're a game I'm looking at actually. Next one I want to talk about. I did want to cover the Crew and NYCFC specifically because the Crew are just so fucking boring, dude.
Yeah, they're awful.
I can't watch the Columbus Crew play anymore.
No, their goal is a 0-0 or 1-0 game. That's what they're shooting. I mean, I guess it would be a 1-0 game.
Right.
But they're happy with a 0-0. It's kind of like Charlotte was last year.
Yeah. Well, and so Darlington Nagbe, I feel, is still doing his job. Russell Rowe is not a sole striker. He's just not good enough to be your sole attacker. And Diego Rossi is...
He hasn't really done much since week 1.
He needs help. Diego Rossi, Google it. How old is he? 57 years old? How old is Diego Rossi? I know he's not 57, literally. But, the man is in his 40s. He's so old, Diego Rossi. I've been hearing about Diego Rossi since I was, like, a kid.
Say it right there once you pull him up.
Yeah, they're hiding it. That's why.
Overview. 27.
He's 27 years old. He looks like shit for 27. I feel like this guy's been around forever. Did he start at like 18? Is that why?
Oh, yeah.
Was he like already a pro then?
Yeah.
Regardless, he can't do it alone. And honestly, before I thought it was old, maybe it's just because he sucks if he's only 27. Because he should still be in his prime.
He doesn't. He doesn't have anyone around him.
Yeah. No, and Diego Rossi was never a
He stepped in last year and was fine.
Yeah. Well, and with Ramirez and Cucho and...
But, like, if Cucho was out, then Rossi or Ramirez got the goals. But they helped each other. Ramirez sat. Rossi had Cucho with him. Like,
he's 27, huh?
Yeah.
That doesn't feel right. I thought he was way older than that. Am I alone in this?
I never really thought about it.
Huh. All right. Well, moving on. Yeah, I mean, really nothing to talk about in that game. Nothing happened. So I just wanted to say the Crew needs to fucking figure it out or I'm done watching.
Wilfred Nancy does not care.
No, he doesn't. Red Bulls 2-1 win over Toronto. I mean, we hate Toronto, so I always want to shout out a Toronto loss. Forsberg, really good game.
Yep, and that was the one game I didn't take him in fantasy, and I took Choupo-Moting, and that was great.
And he's been inconsistent, so 14 points. I mean, that's about as much as you could hope for from a midfielder. Moving on, Orlando 4-1 over DC United.
Clinic.
Yeah, wild game.
Should have had the clean sheet.
Yep,
but that's how bad their defense is. Don't ever take defenders on that team. I was like, man, somebody's going to get rewarded for a terrible pick in Orlando defenders. And they're like, nope.
By the way, the goal for DC, Lucas McNaughton, who never in a million years would I have picked him as the goal scorer.
Benteke had the assist, didn't he?
He did. And actually, he also
salvaged his week.
Yeah, he
still hasn't had less than 6
points. Yeah, 6 points with no goals or assists. I did have Benteke, he had an assist, so there's that.
Yeah, I had Benteke as well.
We'll get into some other players that actually had no goals or assists, and we'll get into some of those scores, because there were some high-scoring midfielders despite not getting their name on the score sheet at all. But yeah, they look great. I mean, Ojeda controlled the match, 2 assists and a goal. Alex Freeman on defense with a goal and an assist. Whoever picked that guy, I mean, hit the lotto, because if they held the clean sheet, he would have had 17 points.
Would that have been unbelievable?
If they held the clean sheet.
Whew.
But yeah, great match from Orlando. DC, I mean, the alarm bells have been ringing in DC. It's not like this is new.
No.
But, I mean, honestly, DC seems to be like, we just want to sell Benteke jerseys. That seems to be their new goal. Philly, 1-0 over St. Louis. Don't have a ton to say about this game. I mean, it's a good win for Philly. St. Louis is a tight defense.
And they just don't score goals. I mean, This is 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah. And
I expected St. Louis players to be scoring.
It's what we saw out of St. Louis last year, too. This is not a new problem for them.
They have players like they should be scoring.
I honestly don't even know what they need to do. Like, I think you need to try a different shape at this point.
I think they've got to be playing defense first.
Yeah.
And then it's not giving them the opportunity to score.
Moving on. LA 2-0 over Sporting LAFC. 2-0 over Sporting Kansas City on the road. Goals from Aaron Long and David Martinez, which means still not on the score. Oh, no, sorry.
Bouanga was away.
I understand why now. Bouanga was away. I got excited. He didn't score for his national team either, though.
No,
Where does he play for again? It's like a country that doesn't even exist. Yeah, didn't we look it up? No, we looked up Togo. Who plays for Togo?
I don't remember. But, I mean, I've known since Bouanga's been with LAFC that he...
2-0, though. I love Aaron Long. I gotta be honest. He keeps scoring. He keeps putting up points. Sporting Kansas City. We knew they were bad. This isn't news. But wow. I mean, this is not a good LA team right now. They've not been playing well.
Yeah.
They really have not been... Yeah, I mean, they have had clean sheets, LA, but on the road, I feel like you gotta be able to score on LA. Or at home, LA coming to you.
Yeah.
You gotta be able to score. Nashville.
Yeah, and I was going to take Jovic. I'm glad I didn't.
Yep.
Not that I was great anyway,
but 3-0 Nashville at home against Montreal, and they looked good.
I mean, I I love them this week. I told
Yeah.
you that. I said this is the only time you'll hear me say that, or the first time you've ever heard me say this.
We did both feel good about this.
Yes, I liked, and the game itself, whatever they were laying as far as money line laying, not goals. Attacking players, defending players, liked it all.
Yeah.
I just didn't like how expensive Joe Willis was.
And then just to kind of give you the rundown here, we're listing players from top fantasy points down. Josh Bauer with 14, Walker Zimmerman with 12, Alex Mule with 9, Jack Mayer with 8, Hani Mukhtar with 8, Jonathan Perez with 8. I am still not to a Montreal player. Joe Willis with 7, Daniel Lovitz with 7. I am still not to a Montreal player. Sam Surridge with 5, Tagseth with 4, Brugman with 3. And the highest scoring Montreal player, the first to make the list, is Dante Sealy with 2 points. Every single Montreal player with 2 points or less on the day.
Yeah, they're a nightmare.
Terrible showing. A few players who actually could have had bonus points, but then lost them because of goals allowed to keep them at 2. Montreal is in shambles right now, and I do not see it getting better.
No, and I don't remember who they're playing this week, but I'm all over them. Chicago Fire.
Yeah.
In Chicago. Well, by the way, they started the season on 6 straight road games. So I guess that stadium is being built. I feel like I might have known that.
I remember them talking about something happening, and that was why.
It's not interesting enough for me to care about.
No. And to be honest, I could give a shit about any of the Canadian teams, really. If we have any Canadian viewers, I'm sorry, but Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal.
They don't have the internet in Canada. By the way, on Togo, Denke.
Oh! Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's...
3-0 next game as well. Portland over Colorado. I did not expect a Portland clean sheet. I kind of thought maybe.
No, I didn't either.
And I did have Pantemis.
Yes.
Is that right? I had Pantemis. I don't see a lot of Colorado 0-goal games. They are a pretty attacking team in general. I don't feel like Colorado's found their stride yet.
No, they haven't.
And this is something we see from Colorado, 3 years running now, where they start slow out there. I don't know if they're high. I don't know what's going on with the Colorado Rapids, but they do not start the season well, ever. Mihailovic didn't look good. Forget he didn't have a goal or assist. He just looked bad. I felt like he never really got a chance going. Like, it was not a good match for them. Portland did look good. Every time you have 3 goals, you tend to look good because of that.
None with DaCosta, right?
No, none with DaCosta. The DaCosta still scored well, and we'll get into that. Let's see. Goals from Anthony, and then Kelsey, and...
At the top, the defender. Forey.
No, he had an assist.
Oh.
Assist and a clean sheet. Who had the other goal?
Own goal, maybe?
I think it was an own goal. You're right. It was Atencio with the own goal. Which brings me to another point, and I wasn't sure where I was going to fit this in, because it was about the weekend rather than games. I watched 3 own goals live last weekend. What is going on? You're professionals. And by the way, none of the own goals were like, oh, it deflected off of him. He tried to make a stop.
There was one last week.
It's a cross, and he's trying to hit it back to the sideline, and he just miscued it.
NYC last week. The own goal should have never happened. It wasn't going to a player. It wasn't going near the goal.
No, just let that one go by.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, though, because one of my girls in practice this week, we were scrimmaging the older girls, and she had an own goal. Mm-hmm. And I told her, if you play defense for years, you will eventually have an own goal. Every professional defender has had an own goal in their life.
Never happened.
You're a defender.
I
played defense.
For high school, I played defense.
Oh, yeah,
I never played anything other than... They put me in at striker for 7 minutes. I got a yellow card, and I never did it again.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, they put me in. I scored 2 goals against Anson.
Yeah.
Up top. Fuck you, Anson. Shout out. Some of you remember that game. If you're out there, someone out there was on that Anson team, and I just want you to know, 9-0, dude. Remember that.
They don't remember because all their other games they lost 9-0.
This is real inside baseball, but if you played soccer in high school in North Carolina, you know how bad Ensign is every year. Okay, moving on. Dallas, I don't really care. They won 1-0. They beat Salt Lake in Salt Lake. The only reason I really wanted to talk about this was it's Acosta's first goal.
Yeah.
And I like their matchup this week. We'll get more into that, but is it his first goal?
I don't
is that
think
why
it
you're
is.
looking at me?
Yeah.
That's how boring Acosta's been, though. I don't remember.
When he chipped.
You're
that
right.
was a goal, right? That wasn't a pass that somebody else finished. That was a goal.
So his second goal.
Yeah.
He's just been so underwhelming. And honestly, I'm a little curious. Is he actually bad right now, or is it just he was so good with Cincinnati? Like, he was an automatic last year. There was never a week he didn't play Acosta. So maybe he's just returning to normal, and that's why it seems like
he was really good the year before, too. No, I think he's either got to get used to the system, or it's not the best system for him.
Yeah. Well, and I do think there is some getting used to a new team. I think that's normal. I mean, we're seeing that out of Evander. Evander had 2 goals last week.
And he looked like Evander.
Yeah.
You watch those highlights, he looked like Evander.
Chicago Fire, 3-1 over Vancouver.
Totally expected.
Yeah, I didn't.
Nobody was there for Vancouver. I'm actually surprised they scored a goal at all.
Yeah. No, 3-1 for Vancouver with the entire team gone. I felt like wasn't even that bad. Austin, 2-1 over San Diego. I don't really care that much about this game, but I did want to bring it up just because it was a Brandon Vasquez goal, and he should have had 2.
I didn't even watch it. By Sunday, I was done.
Brandon Vasquez goal, breakaway 1-on-1, and then had another one, and he tried to do this like little cheeky chip over the top thing, and he just missed the net instead of just ripping it. I say all that to say this: even with the goal, I am still not sold on Brandon Vasquez.
No, it's one game.
That was last.
Look at all these defenders that have a goal in one game.
Right. As far as fantasy went, I finally had a good week. 88 points. First time I've been over like 55. I think I've been in the 50s or lower every week until now. Like I said, Pantemis in the net, held his clean sheet for 7. Daniel Lovett's on the back line with 7. Actually, of the Nashville defenders, one of the worst, but also one of the cheapest, which was really the inspiration for that.
Yeah.
Byrne with 3 points. They should have held that fucking clean sheet until they gave up the penalty, but that should have been a good pick, and I got screwed. Gutman with 0, but it ended up not mattering.
Well, he didn't play the whole game.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's hard to get bonus points.
So, this is really where I wanted to get into it. The midfield. Rusnak was my captain. He had 7 points, 14 as the captain. No goals or assists. That's 4 attacking bonus points, 1 other.
They have a clean sheet. That's what the other is.
They did hold a clean sheet, 4 attacking bonuses, and then he got his 2 points for the full game. We have Dreyer with 7 points, 3 attacking bonus, 2 from the other, and then his minutes to give him 7 with no goals or assists. And then to DaCosta, 6 points with no goals or assists, 2, 2, and 2 across the board.
Those are players that you want to play.
Yes.
Because they're going to get goal contributions.
Right.
Now just add it to 6s and 7s.
Well, and what we're starting to do,
digits.
like Dreyer, I want to say, I don't want to get this wrong, so I'm going to pull it up. Oh, good.
6, 12, 5, 7.
Yeah, I mean, this is his floor. And what I was going to say, it won't let me see the thing, but I believe the number was 9 shots on goal from Dreyer.
I probably can see it.
Yeah, see if you can pull it up.
I don't have a Mac.
Moving on, Evander. I called it last week. I was very confident this was the week Evander went off. Now, I've also said that every week, so take it with a grain of salt. But 2 goals with bonus points and everything, finished with 17 after the adjustment. Huge game from Evander. He's back. He looked like Evander, like we said. And Cincinnati looked good. They looked like the Cincinnati of old.
What did you want to know about Dreyer?
How many shots on goal did he have?
8.
8 shots on goal.
2 bonus points.
And
12 key passes.
Ojeda we already talked about.
3 bonus points.
But 16 points from Ojeda. which goal, 2 assists. I mean, just a crazy game from him.
Yeah.
We
said that he might be the most consistent player in the game right now.
Yeah, well, and this Orlando team really revolves around him, and this Orlando team does not give a shit about letting in goals.
No, we're just going to score more, and that's how we win. They're the anti-Columbus Crew.
Right. Benteke up top, Surge up top, 6 and 5. No goals or assists. I mean, those are good games for no goals or assists. I really did expect a Surge goal, especially when Nashville started putting pressure on. I thought it was only a matter of time, but 5 points from a striker, especially this season, we'll take it. It could have been worse for sure. John, how'd you do last week?
So I had Lunt in goal. Mm-hmm. He had 4, so I just kept that. I didn't keep Peru because I figured they've got to get a clean sheet, and what are they going to have, 7? So I'm risking everything for a potential 3 points.
Right.
And then I can spend that money elsewhere if I need to. So I was happy. If you give me 4 points every week on my keeper, I'll take it. I won't even put one in. Just give me the 4 points.
Yeah.
Defense, not good. I put a lot of faith in Chicago. So Gutman and Rogers, 0 and 3 respectively. So I had Akil Watts, had 2. I expected St. Louis to get a clean sheet. The reverse happened, and I did have Lovitz, which I told you I love Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
I would have played Joe Willis. I'm not going to spend $8-something million right now on a keeper.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it. Now, that should have been all my defenders. I had Pilcher as a $4 million on Sunday, and then I would look at the lineup and whatever. By Sunday, I didn't care anymore.
Right.
So my fantasy team was awful.
Yep.
Both teams I coached lost. My boys had 11 players.
Oh, no.
90 minutes, no subs. We got destroyed. It was awful. But they did not quit, which was awesome.
Well, that's good.
My girls lost to it.
Not like that shitty fucking U.S. men's national team, I tell you.
No, I have players with heart. My girls lost to a subpar team. That's rough. Super disappointing. And then the Johnnies looked.
We didn't even talk about
had the worst game of the entire year
fucking
at the best time.
Arizona Razorbacks. I couldn't even believe it. I didn't even watch that game because I was like, oh, I don't have to. They're going to win. But
that's how St. John's been this year. Like, it's the one team I've ever rooted for in my life where I wasn't worried. Yeah. Like, no, they're going to win. Like, it was literally the worst game they played all season. It was just a lot of things against them that didn't help, but it is what it is. So come Sunday, I was not watching any MLS. And then this stupid Pilcher $4 million guy played. I mean, maybe a couple of minutes. He only got 1 point. Oh, no, 2.
Oh, he got a yellow
He got a yellow card.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, well, and San Diego is not a team that you can take defenders if they're not.
No, they keep playing. It happened to me last week, too.
Well, but not only that, San Diego, if they're not going to get clean, like their defenders aren't involved in the attack as the same way other teams have. They don't have a Kai Wagner. They don't.
So I got his 1 point instead of Lovett 7. So I should have had 6 more points.
Right.
But then I had Rusnak, Mihailovic, and Ojeda. You didn't have Mihailovic, did you?
I did not.
Mihailovic had 4. Ojeda was my captain, so that was good. He got the 32.
By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, rewind a second because you'll see me forget how to drink. I just spilled beer all over me.
I had Hartel. I told you I thought St. Louis.
Yes.
Nope, 2 points, nothing.
Which he's expensive.
Yeah, $9.4 million.
Eek.
Well, it's so funny because I was thinking about Leuven, and I don't know what his final score was, but it could have been negative because he got 2 yellows.
Yeah.
So glad I didn't take him to save some money. I had.
So hold on, and this is a rule question, which I can probably find if I look back. But if you get 2 yellow, because you lose a point for a yellow card.
Oh, do you get the points off for the yellows and the red?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I wouldn't think that would be wildly unfair. But
yeah,
it
because
does seem
a
like
straight red is worse than 2 yellows.
Yeah, but it does seem like the kind of thing that they would overlook in coding this game.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm curious, if anybody knows, put that in the comments.
Well, just look up Leuven.
That's going to take too long. We'll do that
after. Choupo-Moting, 2 points when Forsberg had 14. Mm-hmm. So, again, I chose the wrong guy. on that team. So that's super. Benteke with his 6.
Yep.
And then I had Peck on the bench with 1. Again, LA will do something. LA will, no. Yeah. And I had Isaiah Parente just because he's cheap. And he's on a price rise, which was only $100,000 because he only had 1 point. Right. But I might have him again this week if I can't afford all the guys I want, and he still should be on a price rise. So, and he didn't play much, and that was the problem. He didn't start, and I just left him there because I was out. I had the games. I just didn't care.
Yeah.
But he only played 23 minutes. But when he plays 90 minutes, he gets passing bonuses, key passes bonuses.
Right.
You know, so he's a good, cheap player that if he plays 90 minutes, he's going to get bonuses, he's going to get you points, and he's going to get a price rise. So
yeah.
So I wound up scoring 63 instead of 69, like I'd said.
Right.
I still suck. I made another $3 million.
Yeah.
So I'm at 114.15 now. But I mean, overall, for Charlotte, I'm in 128th. Oh. And overall, I'm 49-43. Like, I'm going to quit soon.
Well, we do have a show where we have to talk about it now.
I can still watch it and talk about it and never put in a lineup again.
Next week. Cover games first. I'm going to list them all off like we always do, and then we'll talk about the individual games we want to talk about. Starting at 2:30 on Saturday, we've got Toronto FC playing Vancouver Whitecaps, and then we've got the New England Revolution against the New York Red Bulls. 4:30 match, we've got Colorado hosting Charlotte FC. 7:30 on Saturday, we have Atlanta United hosting New York City FC. We have DC United with Columbus Crew. Inter Miami back off their bye week playing Philly in Miami. We've got Chicago hosting Montreal. Dallas hosting Sporting Kansas City. Minnesota United Real Salt Lake. Nashville Cincinnati. Then 10:30 games, we have the Galaxy playing Orlando. We have San Diego playing LAFC. We have the San Jose Earthquakes playing Seattle. Sunday, 2 matches. We've got St. Louis and Austin at 2:15. An early Sunday game. We have not seen one of those this season so far. And then we've got the Portland Timbers at 7 playing the Houston Dynamo. Off rip, what do you like? What do you not? What are you looking at?
I like Chicago.
Okay. I agree. I
like everybody who plays Montreal.
Yeah.
Attackers, defenders, when you get into players as well, not just the game. I like Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as players, I definitely like their attacking players.
I think that game's going to be really high scoring.
I don't know. I keep thinking LA Galaxy's going to score, and then they don't.
Right.
I mean, at some point, they're just not going to score.
Yeah, well, they put up 2 on Minnesota, right? Last week? Is that right? It was 2-2?
I think that's right, 2-2, yeah.
And Orlando's a worse defense than Minnesota, I would say. The Galaxy.
Minnesota had half their team missing. They had no St. Clair or Boxall.
That's a good point. I wasn't even thinking about that.
They had no Ludd,
right,
who could be controlling the center, the middle of the field so that the ball isn't in their end. I mean, they're missing a ton of players.
Well, and we'll see.
Which is why I like them. They were playing Minnesota's second team, except Yeboah.
Yeah.
And Lalwani.
Here's what I do like about LA in this game, and it's also the worry. Orlando is going to be attacking the whole game, which means there's going to be counterattack opportunities for LA. What could also happen is the ball never gets out of LA's half. It's just up there the whole time.
Yep.
I could almost see an Orlando clean sheet just solely because the ball's never near their goal. As far as, I gotta be honest, there's a lot of games this week I don't care about.
Yeah. No, this is not a great week.
It's gonna be a weird fantasy week. DC Columbus, that game, it's not interesting to me because it's going to be high scoring or anything. But
no, it's not going to be high scoring.
I'm curious to see what Columbus can do against this DC team because this is a team that has let in a lot of goals. They've basically said it's Benteke or bust on their offense. Like, they're really not looking for other people to score.
At home, they've let up 2-1-0. So they're averaging a goal a game.
It's not terrible. It feels worse. Things feel really
Columbus
bad
on the road scores 1 goal a game. 1 and 1.
I don't know. But
I picked Columbus to score 1 goal.
Yeah.
And it's someone that you're not going to take.
It's not going to be Rossi or Russell Rowe.
No.
But I think this is a test game for Columbus. I really do think they need 3 points out of this. They need to start getting some momentum going. This is a team they can beat. And they got to start doing it. I mean,
I don't think that's their mentality at all.
No, and that's the problem over there. It's why they're getting all these ties, because they're not like, we got to get out there and fucking win.
But they're still okay in the standings.
For now. That's the thing. I mean, you keep tying and teams keep winning. They're picking up 2 points on you every time that happens. Like, you can't just keep drawing and expect it to be okay. They're in 6th. That is not what Columbus wants.
No. But they're 3 points out of first. They're 1 point out of second. Another tie and they're second.
I'm telling you, if I was Columbus, this is not where I'd want to be.
No, I mean, they shouldn't.
Dallas at home playing Kansas City. Does Dallas go off? What are your thoughts here? I want to believe yes.
Me too.
I want to put my entire life savings on Acosta or Musa to score.
Oh, I would venture to say that you would lose your life savings.
Well, the good news is...
to score 1 goal?
Yes.
I could see one of them scoring 1 goal. I don't think they'll both score.
No, I don't know which one.
I think the team will score 1 or 2 goals, and that's it. They're not going to score more than 2. I think the team will score a goal.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. They're going to score 1 or 2 goals.
And I got to be honest with you, I don't really like a Dallas clean sheet either.
No.
I feel like Kansas, they didn't score last weekend. They are going to go. Joveljic. I was also thinking Eric Tommy. I think he could get just a real white trash anger going, and it every once in a while you see
it. What he is?
That's what he looks like. I don't know what I've based that on, but just looking at him,
I don't think he's that at all.
He reminds me of. Do you remember when we used to see Clint Dempsey and we were like, he looks sunken in a little?
Yeah.
That's the vibe I get off Eric Tommy.
So he's German.
It's his eyes.
Yeah.
Well, Germans have white trash.
Oh, yeah.
They drink beer with breakfast, those people. They're crazy.
He looks like he could be an Edward Scissorhands. Or... Who is that guy? Who's that guy that I hate?
Tim Burton?
Tim Burton.
He does look like a Tim Burton
He looks like a Tim Burton character.
He's very lanky.
Oh, if you shine a flashlight from here, I bet you don't even see his eye sockets.
Yeah, so I guess he's not white trash, he's just scary looking. And I was putting white trash on him.
Yeah, he's just ugly.
Alright, fair enough. But I could see Eric Tommy scoring a goal. I really could. Nashville-Cincinnati. This game I don't know what to do with. I could, because on one hand, Cincinnati's back. On the other hand, Nashville's back. Nashville 3-0 with a clean sheet.
I would say be careful with Nashville's back.
Yeah,
they've been stomping on some crappy teams.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
and this Cincinnati team is not. I mean, they haven't looked awesome, but they haven't been like super easy to beat either.
No. I don't think they've had any kind of letdown or anything like that.
No, I felt like they should have picked up the 3 against Atlanta. But they scored 2 goals. What are you gonna do? Yeah. You know,
defend.
But it's like at some point, it's not Evander and them's fault.
It's me.
Yeah, right. But I don't know what to do with this game. I
can't even say, it's going to be high scoring, because Cincinnati can park the bus, especially on an away game where they've been terrible away.
Yeah,
I mean terrible. So they might have a completely defensive strategy.
Part of me thinks I could see Evander just ripping shots from outside the box.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be the game plan.
Let Denke make that run in and take Zimmerman out of the equation, and just let Evander keep hammering from 20 to 25 out. That's kind of his sweet spot. But anyway.
I don't know what's going to happen in this, because I think Cincinnati is one of the most unpredictable teams in the league.
Yeah,
right now we'll see if the numbers keep going in a certain direction.
This is a game I actually want to watch, though. I'm really curious. I have no idea what's going to happen here. San Jose, Seattle. This game, I think, is going to be high scoring. And the reason I think that is because both of these teams are coming off of horrific scoring weeks. Seattle held to 0 with Houston. Not a team you want to get held to a clean sheet with. San Jose, 1 goal, and it was a penalty against Charlotte. And I just feel like these teams are going to want to come out and put their foot on the gas. I don't see this as being a defensive game plan game.
Seattle hasn't scored on the road yet. 0 goals in 2 games.
They also haven't played San Jose.
Yeah. San Jose at home is averaging 1 goal a game. 0, 1, and 2.
Right, but you're using numbers.
I mean, that's how you keep scoring.
And I'm using my gut instinct.
Okay.
And I refuse to look at the numbers.
At the end of the game, they use numbers.
Right. But it's a high scoring game is what I'm imagining here.
Actually, this game against Charlotte was the first time that San Jose really shit the bed. They let
defensively
up 0, 1, and 2 at home, and they let up 1 on the road until this 4.
Well, and you know how high powered this Charlotte offense is.
And Rodriguez didn't start.
Yeah. St. Louis, Austin, I don't care. I just can't care.
No, I'm done with St. Louis.
I think Austin will probably win if we're being
honest.
And
when I say I'm done with St. Louis, I don't mean I think they're terrible. I have no desire to watch that team. And with such good players, that team should be so exciting.
Yeah.
And they're awful to watch.
Portland hosting Houston. I like Portland players this week. I mean, we talked about Houston.
Houston scores and lets up 1 or 0 goals a game.
Right.
They are the Columbus Crew.
Yeah, they park the bus.
Awful.
This Portland team scores goals, man. They do. And I think they're getting more well-oiled. I think DaCosta, Anthony, that partnership's really starting to shore up. This Houston team, I mean, even though they don't let up a lot of goals, they're also not very good. The ball's in their half a lot. It just feels like there's opportunities to put up more goals on Houston than are going in right now.
Portland scored 3 goals against Colorado,
yes,
who have let up goals this season. Their other 4 games, they scored 1, 1, 1, and 0.
Eek. Really?
Yes.
That's it?
Yes.
How many of those are DaCosta, by the way?
I don't know.
Because he's been good.
I don't track that.
Yeah, that's
right. And Houston doesn't let up goals. On the road, they've let up 0 and 0. Actually, at home, they're much worse. At home, they've let up 2, 4, and 2.
Eek.
Yeah. So I guess they parked the bus on the road hoping for a point.
That makes sense. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it'll be 2-0. That's my guess. I think it's a Portland win here.
I think if you can get one, you can get another.
All right, so that's games. Individual players. So, obviously, it's Monday. We're recording on Mondays now. We don't know everything yet.
Yeah.
But, provisionally, where we're at right now. So, I have a keeperoo option. So, I have Celentano right now. To be honest, I don't think I'm going to keep Celentano. I could see a world where Cincinnati gets a clean sheet, but
yeah, but I could see another world too. That's why I said they're so unpredictable. What does Celentano cost?
$7.1 million, and I think I can save a little money. No, it's not.
All your starting keepers are like $7 million and up. They're very overpriced.
And
it's
honestly,
really silly.
I think it's okay to just go. I'm going to spend less and get 2 points out of my goalie and
get 15 points out of this midfielder.
Right.
And
they never
13 points out of this forward. Like
your goalie's never going to score more than 9 points. They're just not.
No,
it's not possible.
They're not going to get more than 8 points, actually, unless they have a penalty save.
It doesn't make sense to me to spend more than that on a goalie. Joe Willis is $8.1 million.
It was 8.3, I thought.
Oh, really? I mean, he's more than 8.
And now he's probably 8.8.
There's just no reason to pay that much when you could get a higher dollar.
He's 8.6, so he probably was 8.1.
Yeah.
Yep, went up 5.
You'll get a higher point
$8.6 million
to dollar ratio with other positions on the field. Back line, I've got Ian Smith from Portland. I probably am going to stick with him. I feel pretty comfortable with that.
If he plays.
Yes, and that
Did you look at his minutes the last two?
Yes.
It was like he went to 0 and then he went to like
numbers.
10. Yeah. So I don't know if he got hurt and he's coming back from an injury. That
maybe. And I don't know. I mean, if it's not him, I'm just going to put in a different Portland defender because I'm not.
For me, it's Forey.
Gotcha.
But I might change it to Smith if he plays.
I'm not
Forey's more expensive, so I wanted to budget that money.
Yeah,
and because I don't know what's going to happen.
I'm not thinking Smith specifically. I was just thinking Portland.
Yep, I have one too.
I've got Longwane. I like Minnesota against Salt Lake. I don't know if they're going to have the clean sheet, which is why I like Longwane specifically, because he gets involved up there.
Yeah, I don't have him right now. I might actually change that.
I have Jack Elliott, home against Montreal. I like Chicago defense. I'm also a little scared of them, I'll be honest with you. I do think Montreal is a goal threat. I mean, even though they haven't really shown it yet.
They have no goals on the season. They have one own goal from the other team.
I just don't...
They have not actually scored a goal yet.
Like, it just can't stay like that.
I'm wrong. Oh. They scored one that game, and then the team also had an own goal. But the next 4 games, 0-0-0-0.
Right, and the numbers say they're not going to score, but at some point...
They got to score.
Yeah, they have a lineup that can score goals. I mean, this is not some, garbage lineup. There's real strikers there. Curtis Ofori in, obviously, I'm expecting him not to play for subs, which we'll talk about. Rusnak. I got him captained right now. I love Rusnak. The man, his floor is just so hot.
Yeah.
I like him as a captain because of that. I also have Ojeda, and I may make him the captain. I really like him going to LA. I'm a little worried just because he's coming off a 16-point game. He's going to do that twice in a row. That's hard to do. But if he's going to do it against someone, this LA team right now is the team that he's going to go off against, Gutierrez I have as well. I really like him this week. The worries I have about the Chicago backline, I do not have about the Chicago midfield and striking core. I think they're going to do very well. Anthony I have right now playing against Houston. Probably going to keep him. There is a chance that switches to DaCosta, but DaCosta's a little more expensive. I think I just prefer the value there. Mm-hmm. Up top... Oh, sorry. My sub...
up top.
Well, no, Anthony's a midfielder.
Didn't you say Kuipers?
I said Anthony. I haven't gotten...
you said Gutierrez, and I was thinking Kuipers.
Gotcha. Yeah, Gutierrez in the midfield, Anthony in the midfield, and then on the bench in the midfield, I have Espinoza, and specifically because of last week, because they lost 4-1, and Espinoza had no goals or assists, and Espinoza still had 8 points.
Yeah.
I'm going to run you through this year so far. 10 points versus Real Salt Lake. 2 points at Sporting Kansas City, bad showing. 3 points at Minnesota United, or home against Minnesota United. But then 9 against the Rapids, and 8 against Charlotte. And in both of those games, he had 14 key passes against the Rapids for 3 points. He had 21 key passes against Charlotte for 5 points. I've never seen anyone get 5 points off of key passes.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever seen that in 3 years of doing fantasy.
Hey, if anyone will let it up, it's Charlotte.
And then crosses. He's hit his cross bonus 40% of games right now. I just think he's a guy with a high floor. And I think playing against Seattle, they're at home. Like I said, even if he doesn't score, I think they're going to be knocking on the door all game. I think these are teams that want to score now. I think it's a perfect storm that should get him in good positions. Up top, Hugo Kuipers, which he's staying. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Unless Hugo Kuipers spontaneously combusts between now and the game, he's in. Ladilov, I am less confident in that. NYC defense does scare me a little. It's Atlanta at home. They rarely get held to 0 at home. And he seems to be the guy. They want to work through him for goals.
Well, he got the 2-1 game, and then the next game he didn't score.
Yeah.
And it was is he... it was right away. It was the first or second game, and he went off.
Yeah. But
then I felt like he really hasn't done anything.
I do like him this week. I'm not 100% set, but I feel like I'm probably leaning that direction. And then Kelvin Yeboah is on the bench. I love him against Salt Lake. He just has looked good. Averaging 7.8 points right now. It's just not...
His first goal was completely McCarthy's fault. That was terrible. Yeah. That ball was going out of bounds.
And yeah, he
literally passed it to him.
He had 2 goals last week, but he scored against San Jose and scored against Montreal. I mean, 16 minutes against Sporting Kansas City, so I'll hardly hold that to him. I mean, he didn't play the whole game. So, in the games he played more than 60 minutes, he scored in 3 of the 4, and one of those he had 2 goals. So, right now, I just think he is a safe bet. And I don't think RSL is some amazing defense. I think Minnesota can really get after him. I do have Espinoza and Yeboah on the bench right now just because I want one of them to go for Ofori. I finally have enough money now where that's an option. To be honest with you, there is a chance I'd go Espinoza in, Anthony to the bench, and let him or Yeboah go in as the sub. But that's where we're at right now. Some things will move around. Definitely the keeper is not solid. I don't know that it's going to be Celentano. But other than that, I feel like this is pretty much what I'm going to be working with, give or take, like, this guy's not playing, so put someone else in from his team, John, what do you got?
So, right now, my keeper's Carnell.
Mm-hmm.
Partly because it's New England,
I thought about him as well.
And partly because it's the first game of the day, so I can do a keeperoo. I'm debating that. I might go cheaper. He's $7.5 million. Mm-hmm. And forgo a keeperoo. Like, I normally put my keeper on the bench and have a scrub on the field, and then if I want to, I can put someone in. I might put a cheap keeper on the bench who might get points and money. Yeah. And put the keeper I want in the field and just roll with it and give me more money for the field.
By the way, I hate to interrupt you, but do you think that Mike picked up the fart I just had? Because I really hope it did.
By the way, I stayed so straight-faced through that whole thing.
That was impressive. I couldn't let it go.
I was pretty proud of myself.
I leaned forward and everything.
I was pretty proud of myself.
All right.
We'll see. Back line, I got Brooks Lennon, partly because they don't really get a lot of clean sheets, but they've gotten some when I didn't expect them to. And I could see NYC not scoring on the road.
I thought about that too.
And Lennon can score goals. He can get assists. Do
you know who I really think I might take? Brad Guzan.
Yeah, I'm curious what he costs. Right now, I have Gutman again, even though he screwed me last week. I do like Chicago. I like Chicago all
0
over
points
the field.
Twice.
Right. Right now, I have Shaq Moore. I am debating that. Part of me feels like Dallas should shut them out.
Right.
But then part of me feels like they just won't. And Shaq Moore is just someone who I feel like could get an assist or something, too. That's why I chose him over other players on Dallas, and he's cheap. He's only $5.8 million. Mm-hmm. Right now, I got Forey. I already told you that. Yep. We're talking about Forey and Smith. And I got Valencia on the bench, early game. But I could scrub out one of those guys if Valencia does well.
Yeah. Breaking news. Brad Guzan is $6.2 million.
Oh, wow. I really might change to him.
And
that's 1.3 I could put elsewhere.
He's the 7:30 on Saturday, so you do have a chance to play him on the bench and kind of see what happens. Because you got games later that, none of these are really clean sheet games. But, Portland playing Houston at home, you could always, get Pantemis or...
St. Louis at home.
Yeah, those are both two I think about because they're the Sunday games. So that's probably what I'm going to go with, actually, is Guzan on the bench with the chance to put one of the Sunday keepers in.
Right now, I don't like my midfield. And there's guys that aren't on it that I'm thinking about. I am thinking about Espinoza and Rusnak like you have.
Yep.
And Gutierrez. I have Kuipers in my lineup, and I just feel like they both won't. I don't know.
I love them so much.
I have Ojeda and Pulisic. So, yeah, because I just think they could go off. I debated Muriel.
By the way, I would like to point out that Hugo Kuipers has scored in 4 of the 5 games this season. He has 5 goals in 5 matches.
I didn't take Benteke until week 5.
Yep.
and he scored in all 4 of his first games. I'm sorry, all 3 of his first games. I took him in week 4 and 5. He didn't score in either week.
Yeah.
So, actually, 4, he had a goal that was disallowed.
I just don't see Montreal being a letdown week. I don't.
Yeah. But I have Kuipers. I don't have Gutierrez right now. That's why I said I didn't take Gutierrez, because I have Kuipers.
Let's get to your other striker, because I'm intrigued.
Brian White.
Did not think of him, and I love him, actually.
Yeah. At Toronto, coming back from international break, with no Gold.
Yeah,
it almost has to run through him. I actually thought about Ali Ahmed on defense too.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that they're going to get a clean sheet. So
yeah,
I am working on the attacking numbers only. But he is a forward. He's not a defender.
Yeah, well, and I love Brian White with no Gold because it has to be him. There is no one else to really.
It's really Ali Ahmed is the next guy.
Yeah, I mean, you need a Brian White when you don't have him.
Yeah, so, but I didn't finish my midfields. Right now I have Acosta. Mm-hmm. I might dump him. I don't know. I don't know if it's a fear of missing out.
I'm going in and out on him, honestly. Yeah. And what I think, so if Vlade goes out, I will go with someone cheaper. Maybe a Surridge, maybe a Brian White. I don't know.
And I have Mukhtar right now.
Yeah.
Instead of Surridge.
And the only reason I was thinking Surridge over Mukhtar is because Surridge didn't score last week, and I feel like he's a guy who doesn't really go 2 weeks without scoring a lot. But if Vlade comes out, it will be for someone cheaper, and then with that money, I will be looking to get Acosta in. I think he's more than I want to pay for how confident I am about him.
Right.
You know,
but for a midfielder that can put up ridiculous numbers.
And here's the thing:
10.
if I have the money, I don't care what ridiculous number he is, as long as I have it. So, it's just about freeing up the space. Do I want to take the risk? But if I do go Acosta, he will be on the bench. He will not be in my line.
So I have Ojeda. I don't know if I said that, and he's my captain. I think I did when I was talking about Pasalic. And then I have, I said before, Kuipers with White. And I've been Benteke on the bench. He's the first game, and he's so hit or miss. He can get 15. He can get, but he hasn't gotten less than 6 this year.
Yeah. No, really good floor. And honestly, with Columbus, I'm curious.
And he's definitely a price rise. So if he doesn't do well.
Yeah.
He doesn't hit the field, but I'm still going to make $500,000.
Right.
So. But I think I'll make changes. I don't think I'm sticking with this. But I told you some of the guys I was thinking about.
Yeah. And we'll post the lineups on the Instagram Saturday morning. That is when that post will come out. As far as betting goes, so I got to be honest. We looked through the games before. There's not a ton I love, but we'll talk about a few that I think maybe could be a good value. Charlotte FC going to Colorado. Audemong's back. Colorado bad showing last week. I mean, I don't know how I feel about this, but Charlotte plus 185. I think you could.
So yeah, it could be worth that risk because of the payout. They're not great on the road.
Right.
They should have lost in Seattle. They did lose in Miami. Up a man for 60 minutes.
And they had no business losing that game.
No.
But Colorado,
and they should have lost to Seattle. That was an own goal.
Yeah. But Colorado's just not Miami. I'm not that confident in this Colorado team. And the Charlotte team, as much as we love to not believe in teams we root for, they're, by all metrics, playing very well.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't like Pep Biel, and he was one of the players of the week.
Atlanta minus 110 at home against New York City. I don't like Atlanta. I almost think because the tie is plus 270 and New York City to win is plus 260, which means if you bet the same amount on both, and one of them, all you need is New York City to tie or win, and you're making your money back and then some.
Yeah, you're not really getting odds at that point, though. You're just getting 2 things.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one of those 3 things to happen, it would be Atlanta winning. But I don't like them enough to lay the 110. I don't even like them at even money, which that basically is.
Yeah. Dallas at home, who I would have liked, but they're minus 120.
definitely.
So now I'm staying away from it. There's a lot of games like that. Like, okay, Minnesota United at home, Real Salt Lake, -130. Like, I think Minnesota should win, but I would really like even money or better on that.
Yeah, I don't love it.
Orlando, this is one we did talk about as liking. Orlando going to LA +185.
I do like that.
Because they're on the road. I love that number. Yeah. And honestly, even if it was straight up, I would consider Orlando this week.
Yeah, but +185, I really like that. I would play that.
Yeah. There was one.
Did you say Chicago?
No, that was the other one. Thank you. I was like, there's one more that we were talking about.
I mean, that's the first thing that jumped off the page at me.
Yeah, so Chicago-Montreal, the problem with this one, and why I will probably not do anything with this, even though I think Chicago will win, is they're -175.
They should be.
Yeah, I think they're going to win. I mean, it's the safest bet here. I just don't like laying that amount. I feel like I have been screwed, and when they win, I'm not like that happy, because I'm not someone who bets $500 on a game. I'm betting $20 to $50 on a game. I won $20 or whatever. It's just not worth risking $50, you know.
Well, you're not. That's +220.
Right.
40.
I got the numbers wrong there, but yeah. It's still I don't like betting negative unless I'm
+250 actually.
Just so sure, you know. But I do think Chicago's good there. If you're a parlay guy and there's another one you like, I would make that your second leg because I think it's about as sure thing as you can get.
I don't like parlays.
No, and he hates parlays.
Parlays are a sucker's bet. Sharps don't bet parlays.
They don't.
Ever. Like, it's a sucker's bet. And that's why DraftKings and FanDuel and all of them do it. Because all of these people, it's a game. And, I can play this game on my phone. And, I'm going to make this if I hit these 3 games. And you're not going to hit those 3 games. So you're just giving them your $10, your $20, whatever. Oh, my God, I'm going to win $95 on a $20 bet. You have to hit all 3 games. You're not going to do that.
So I will say this. You're not going to hit some 5-leg parlay. I have actually hit one 5-leg parlay, but that's not going to happen to any of you. So don't plan on that. But in the MLS, I don't hate a 2-leg parlay. It's the only bet that if you go to 3, you're playing with fire here. But there are weeks where there's 2 games.
Oh, people definitely hit it, but I feel like you lose more often than you win.
I think 2-leg parlays in the MLS are reasonable. I think any more than that, and you're probably not. I think you're almost definitely not going to win a 3-leg parlay. There's just too many factors.
If you bet them separate, you'd still win.
Right, but if you bet them separate, you're making way less than if you group them. And if you were already confident on these 2 games, I like a 2-leg parlay when it makes sense. I don't like it every week.
Right.
But okay, so this week I love where we were just talking about Chicago. -175. I like that game. I don't really like -175, but Orlando +185. I was already thinking about betting that. I throw that parlay on now. Now it hits crazy.
I just feel like the odds you get are not the real odds. So I'll give you an example. So this weekend, I went to the game with Mike. Mm-hmm. Mike had a 3-leg parlay. He took Charlotte to win. He took Pep Biel to have a goal. Mm-hmm. And he took, who's the forward, the young forward?
Toklamati?
Yep, to have a goal.
Yeah.
Okay? He bet $20. What should that, for those 3 things to happen, what should that pay out on a $20 bet?
$80?
It paid, I think, $95 if he hit. It didn't hit. The odds of that happening are way worse than 5-1.
Yeah. Probably.
Way worse than 5-1.
Especially Toklamati for a goal. I would think that should have been worth a lot more, actually.
Right.
That's the leg
I
of
felt like that should have paid
has he scored at all?
10 or 15. He hasn't played.
He's never scored a goal for Charlotte FC. How would that?
Well, he's barely played because Ajiman's been in front of him.
Well, right, but still, there's no track record to suggest he's a guy that scores a lot. You know,
and that they're going to score multiple goals. Period, which they wound up doing. But they don't do that all the time.
No.
And then that it's these two specific guys.
Well, and I'm not a player bet to score guy. I don't like player bets.
No.
I don't like props. I don't do that. I bet teams, and that's about it.
In football, I like prop bets because, but they're not to score. It's
yardage.
This much yardage.
Yeah. No, and I don't hate that.
This guy gets thrown to all the time.
Right. He's gonna have 100 yards or whatever. In soccer though, I don't like betting to score because you
don't know who's gonna get it. No.
Yeah, I mean,
but I played that game with Red Bull and I haven't got it right once.
Yeah. That's pretty much all we got for you guys. John, was there anything else you wanted to say to the people?
Good luck and always check your lineups.
Check your lineups, guys. We'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in.